Okay, hi everyone. We're going to get started. It's 8:01 and I'd like to be punctual and respect everyone's time. Thank you so much for joining. The goal of today is to explain a couple things. Number one, what is the Chatzos Community Initiative? And number two, more importantly, backing up a step, what is Chatzos Shabbos? So the Chatzos Community Initiative is born from a conversation I had with the rabbi in Stanford. I was telling him about the concept of Chatzos Shabbos and some of the programs that we have, the WhatsApp group for women, the emails, the fireside chats. And he said, you need to make this a community thing. You need to bring this to the communities. You need to work with shuls. And after months and months of planning, that happened. So the Chatzos Community Initiative's goal, let's put it into who, what, where, when, and why. So the who, we've been mainly targeting women. Now the Chatzos Community Initiative brings in the men and the children as well. There's something for everyone in the family in the CCI, Chatzos Community Initiative toolkits. What I just explained, bringing a calm Erev Shabbos concept to everyone around the world, making it the norm, going from an individual or a family decision to this is a communal thing. As a community, we are making the decision to honor and respect Shabbos more and not fly into it like madmen. So that's the who, the what, the where. Right now it's happening in Atlanta. It's going to be happening in Stamford, Connecticut, and God willing, later in the year, it'll come to more cities. When we just launched, Baruch Hashem, the why I just explained. So who, what, where, when, why, Chatzos Community Initiative. And if anyone has questions about that, please post them on the chat and we'll do our best to get to them in the Q&A. And now I would like to introduce a dear friend and one of our Gift of Chatzos board members, Michelle Asa. Mrs. Michelle Asa is a huge supporter of the Gift of Chatzos initiative. As I mentioned, she serves on the board and she's going to be presenting the questions that we have tonight. So just to review, we're going to have about a 15-minute interview and that'll be followed by a Q&A for those who can stay on. This is going to be short and sweet.
So this initiative is incredible, as I'm sure everyone in this chat already knows. But Sarah Faygie, can you tell us what's the idea behind Chatzos? To explain the idea of Chatzos, because it sounds really scary when I think that I have to be ready by 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock every single week.
Mm-hmm. I actually just got a message from someone on Facebook saying she gave me 5 or 6 challenges and I felt her pain and she said, I already have one deadline to meet and that is candle lighting. Why are you giving me another deadline? So I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. We're not here to give anyone more deadlines. We're here to make things easier. Okay, so what is chatzos? Chatzos means midday. It could be, it means midday or midnight. Chatzos Shabbos is midday on Friday, Erev Shabbos, and it's a time when the Kedusha of Shabbos begins to descend on a home. Chatzos Shabbos is an age-old practice of being mostly ready by midday. It's a lot of Rabbanim, and you can see the list on our website, giftofchatzos.org, have said to various individuals and to communities that it's an extremely exalted act to be ready and waiting for Shabbos. Right there, you just heard the secret reason why we are all racing into Shabbos like madmen. It's because there's a force against this holy, holy act of being ready and waiting for Shabbos. There's a counter force, the Yetzer Hara, that's working against us. So if you ever wonder why there's extreme and unexplained chaos on Friday, it's that Yetzer Hara. So Chatzos Shabbos means looking at your week differently. The things that you used to do on Thursday, do Wednesday, etc. You push things back and you aim to have a calm Friday by not saving things to last minute.
Okay, that sounds a lot more doable than having to race and do 2 or more deadlines on a Friday. So we have 613 mitzvahs. Why is this something that we would take on top of that?
Okay, so I really did address that a little bit. So there's 2 reasons. One is the practical side, and one is the spiritual benefit. On the practical side, is anyone enjoying that Friday chaos? Like, how's that working out for you, that frantic Friday? I know I'm a pretty organized person, but I really did not like the stress that happened on Friday. And if you listen to Azriela Jaffe's talk, she's on Torah Anytime, and I can share the link. Boss, I don't know if you have that and if you can put it in the chat or if someone from the Gift of Chatzos chat can share it. Um, wow, I just completely lost my train of thought. Why would we take this on? We said practical and spiritual reasons. So practical is to reduce stress. Stress is very unhealthy. We want to reduce stress. That stress also leads to resentment when we're coming into Shabbos, as opposed to anticipating it and enjoying it. One of the best pieces of feedback I've heard from people who take on this concept is they're enjoying Shabbos preparations again. That's how it should be. There are kids who used to resent it and didn't want to do their jobs. They're running to them after school and saying, Mommy, what's my job? Mommy, can I start my job? So this is the practical side, reducing stress and enjoying it again. And then the spiritual side. I'm not going to make any promises, but very, very great rabbis have said that if you work on this concept, you will experience tremendous blessing. And what you hear in my voice is me choking up again because I've personally experienced it. And I've heard from so many people, unbelievable stories, not enough time to share them now, that the spiritual benefit turns into physical benefit. You experience salvation in your life in ways that you never would have thought could happen. So that's why you should take this on.
Beautiful. I know from personal experience how my Fridays and Shabbos, going into Shabbos, has changed because of this. So thank you. What's
Mhm.
the most common pushback that you get when you tell people about Chatzos Shabbos?
That's an easy one. This is
Yes.
not for me. I work on Fridays. Totally not for me. So after I'd heard that the thousandth time, I went onto the Gift of Chatzos WhatsApp chat and I took a poll. How many of you work? How many of you work on Fridays? Guess what? 85% of the women who are working on this work on Fridays, and they need it even more. If you're a homemaker and you're home all day and your schedule is somewhat flexible because you're physically in the house and near the kitchen, you actually have a little more, time and flexibility to do things on Friday. If you're out of the house, you need to be more organized and have things done earlier in the week so that Friday there's less to do.
Okay, so what is the smallest first step someone could take to achieve this goal of calm Shabbos and to take towards Chatzos Shabbos, which is kind of the same question?
Right. So I'm going to answer that with my Chatzosers answers. I've seen that one of the first things people like to do is set their Shabbos table on Thursday night. There could be absolute chaos in the house, but if people see that visual of a table set, it tells them Shabbos is coming and we're getting ready. And it just puts you into that mindset, like we're on our way. This is the journey. A lot of people just have one table. Thursday night, people might be doing homework or working at it. They might need it to eat at Friday morning. If you're in a small apartment or a small home, you can actually take a folded tablecloth and a stack of dishes and cups and just set a little tiny area of the table. And that's your visual. So you work with what you have. So that's one thing. That's one tiny step that people can start with. And then a second one that's very popular is whatever day is your shopping day, move that one day earlier. Just two very small ideas.
So that goes into which tools or habits help people in working to achieve this goal of a calm Erev Shabbos. Any other tips?
Great question. Okay. So I'm trying to think of my own responses and also share some of the words of wisdom, the pearls of wisdom from my Chatzosers. So my own advice is kiss. Keep it simple, sweetie. And if you think the second S stands for something else, I don't want to hear it. Keep it simple, sweetie. If you're on my Gift of Chatzos chat or if you've been receiving my emails, you know my motto, lower the bar, but keep things beautiful. The food standards in the kosher world have gone completely out of control. And this puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on women as hostesses. So this is like a tool rather than a habit. One tool is a mindset. You're not keeping up with the Joneses. You're doing less to be more. So this organization, Gift of Chatzos, promotes the notion that less can be more. If making 3 entrees and 7 dips is causing you to lose sleep and be uptight and snap at people, it's not L'Kavod Shabbos anymore. It's
Right.
L'Kavod your Instagram worthy table, right?
Right.
So a tool or a habit, whatever you want to call it, is do less and be more. Leave space for just sitting, just being with yourself, rather than feeling you have to go, 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 do. And it's counterintuitive for a lot of personalities, mine included. But give yourself permission to do less. That's one thing that I want to say.
I
Yeah.
like what Gloria just said in the comments. I was just saying she's always used nice, but is it necessary?
Mm.
So,
Hmm.
nice.
Hmm.
There was a question here, and can I read one of the questions that came up? Or was
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
okay.
We'll watch the time, but I think we're doing well so far. Boss is
Um,
giving me my warning if I'm blabbing too much.
so I think this is you touched on it before, but maybe you could elaborate on does everything stop at Chatzos, including work on a Friday? So maybe just clarify a little bit more. What does it mean the Chatzos? How does that fit into stopping with everything? Or am I still doing some things, but it's just focusing on not having that mad, frantic Friday?
Right. That's a very, very important question. So being mostly ready for Shabbos by Chatzos means exactly that. That key word is mostly. You can do malacha after chatzos. You can be cutting up a salad or putting your insert into the crock pot for a stew or challah, taking a shower, bathing, taking a walk for exercise, taking a nap. You do whatever you want after chatzos, but your mindset is on Shabbos is coming and you're not in this whirlwind. So just a reminder that chatzos, in this case, chatzos Shabbos is not a halacha. There is something in the Shulchan Aruch kind of related to this that says that heavy labor done after Mincha Gedola, which is around the time of Chatzos, doesn't see any blessing. Heavy labor done on Friday after Mincha Gedola, so it's not related to Shabbos, doesn't see any blessing. And that's a little bit of an impetus for those who can control their work hours to end their day at Chatzos. We've seen a few very well-known businessmen do this. The most recent one is Israel Bookshop. Now, as of about a week ago, they closed their businesses at Chatzos, which is beautiful. About 2 years ago, after October 7th, Mr. Ben Heineman, a BP print group, decided he's closing his shop at Chatzos. So just to make it, kind of like easy to remember hours, he said 12 in the winter, 1 in the summer. So if you can control your work hours, to stop work at Chatzos is just it'll earn you tremendous merit. And that's a Shulchan Aruch thing, that no bracha comes on heavy labor that's done after Chatzos. If you work for someone else and you can't control it, sure. You're doing a mitzvah, you're supporting yourself, you're supporting your family. Did I answer that question? Yeah.
Yeah.
What you can
Well,
can't
for
do
me,
after Chatzos.
Nechama, did she answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess my question is that was a very good answer. Thank you. My question is like, are you wrapping it up for the day? Like, am I just
Yes.
like kind of sitting at home and saying Tehillim until 8 o'clock?
Right, that was my line in a couple of the interviews that I did. I think maybe with Razy Fried. You don't have to sit in your special tichel saying Tehillim for 6 hours. It could look what happens in your house after Chatzos looks different in every household, and you need to kind of figure that out. You know, it could be calling a relative. It could be spending time with someone important to you, spending time with, I see you have kids, your precious kids. If you're married, spending time with your spouse. Like I said, taking a walk, taking a nap, maybe even
Read.
preparing something to eat, especially when Shabbos starts late. The people in the house might be hungry. So feed them.
So it's like staying home and kind of winding down.
You don't have to stay home. You can go to the park and take a walk, but you have in
Mhm.
mind Shabbos is coming. You're not like starting new projects that are going to take your mind off of the Shabbos Queen is coming. This is a VIP. We're rolling out the red carpet. We're getting in the zone. Okay, Michelle, do you have any more questions before we open it up to the floor? Let's make sure we got ours taken care of.
I think you already touched on this. As we prepare for Shabbos week after week, is there something specific that you would suggest people focus on?
Right. So I'm just going to
You kind of touched on that,
reiterate
yeah.
what I said before, that doing less with more intention is very admirable, and no one, I promise you, you're not going to be sitting around bored because you cut back a little bit on your menu.
Right.
No one's going to complain if you outsource a few dishes to keep your Shabbos prep manageable. You do what you need to do. We're just a few weeks past Pesach when many people just knock themselves out. And you have to think, what is it really about? Is it about swoon-worthy dishes or yet another dessert that's going to make us feel heavy? Or is it about spending quality time with family and with God? We're more connected to the mitzvos if we keep the standards real and sustainable, not just beyond reach. And I'm talking to myself. I need to hear this as much as any of you. This world that we're living in, 2026, is incredibly intense. But we can live and we can breathe freely if we don't let it drive our standards. So skip the ads and read the meaningful articles. Take InstaPerfect off your phone and join a growth-oriented support chat, or leave a few unnecessary chats to create more screen-free time and just wait. Those beautiful moments will happen. Wait for the good to happen.
Thank you for the chizuk. Do we have any questions?
So, while people are formulating their wonderful questions, I just wanted to read a little bit of the feedback from people on our WhatsApp chat. For those of you who are not aware, there's a women's only WhatsApp chat. And I think we're at about 320, 330, 330 women from all over the world. It's kind of mind-boggling, the corners of the world that we've reached. And what people do on there is they post their challenges, like, what do I do about this issue? My toddler keeps pulling off the beautifully set Shabbos table, whatever it is. They post their challenges, they post their successes. We celebrate each other, little reminders to keep focused on Shabbos every day of the week, something small every day of the week. So here's just a few little pieces of feedback. This was my first week in the chat, and I need to thank you all for the constant inspiration and motivation. We had our calmest Erev Shabbos in a very long time, and it had so many ripple effects. My husband was on time to Mincha. Usually I need him home until candlelighting. I lit a couple minutes early instead of going into the 18 minutes, which is huge. And the whole Friday, the kids could sense that we were relaxed and they were behaving and happily entertaining themselves. Bela shared this. I'd like to share my day to lower the bar for everyone with no guilt. I just started cooking, and even though it's late Friday morning, because I wasn't feeling well this week and my son is under the weather. But most importantly, what I've been working on is my mental planning and stress reduction so that everything is set up for success. I know I'm going to knock this out of the park by 2 p.m. and still be ahead of my usual game. So what this person did is she wasn't fixated on Chatzos. You don't need to be fixated on Chatzos. It's a general goal. It's not halacha. It's just let's aim to try to be mostly ready. Sarah said, when I first joined this group, I kept it archived. It took time to get used to the idea and to adjust my way of doing things. Over time, I made many gradual changes, and this group inspired me along the way. Baruch Hashem, I have been done with all my cooking by Chatzos for over a month. My kids and husband have thanked me over and over for the calm, easy Fridays. And there I go again. I could cry when I read these things because the chaos and the stress that exists in a lot of homes makes people resent Shabbos. It shouldn't be that way. So take control. If you're one of those people that's still struggling, take control, look at your week and see what you can move a little bit earlier, see what you can cut back so you don't have so much to do. Set up a 15-minute consult with me, and maybe I could see things you don't see or just act as a reflector for your situation. You can WhatsApp me, you can email giftofchatzos@gmail.com. Or check out the ideas on the website. Giftofchatzos.org has how do I start? And I think it says baby steps, people, baby steps. So that's what it's about. Okay. And back to the questions now that everyone had a chance to formulate brilliant questions. And if there's no questions, we can say goodnight and I'll get back to preparing for Shabbos. Let me take a look at the chat. Prepare for Shabbos on Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday at the table set for Shabbos. Okay, so it is, a lot of people do prepare for Shabbos on Wednesday and Thursday, like Wednesday shopping, Thursday, Friday. So the unspoken question in there is why start as early as I suggest? Matzah Shabbos, I suggest people, as soon as you say Havdalah, get the candles ready for next Shabbos. Why would we do that? The spirituality of Shabbos is leaving us, right? We have Malav Malka, we try to hold on to it a little longer. By setting up the candles for next week or doing something, anything, you're connecting the Shabbos that is just departed with the next one. You're bringing spirituality and Kedusha into the whole, and you're not even letting a moment go by without that continuum. So that's a reason to bring it even earlier in the week. And it could be something tiny. If you're working, 10-hour days, just get online and order something pretty for Shabbos from Amazon. Order some tahina or something. Okay, Oni, feel free to unmute yourself. You want to share something?
Hi. I just want to say that I never archived the group because then I wouldn't see it. But I would say have probably been in this group for a year, almost a year before I ever did any action towards making Shabbos earlier. I have to honestly say it has changed my life. I also work on Fridays, but I move my computer to my kitchen so I could be checking on my cooking while I'm working. I I try to get the table ready Thursday night. I love joining in all the women around the world writing. I'm in Belgium setting my table for Shabbos. I'm in Ramat Beit Shemesh. Here's my table. And I love when women are just so real in this group. I know recently you took a poll. Do people also want to learn halacha in this group? And, for me, it was just like, no, this is the inspiration. I want to be surrounded by a group of women who are trying their best and supportive when you're not. Like there's someone in this group who I'm looking at right now who joined and is like a superstar from day one, Ruchi Koval. And the rest of us
Called you out.
the rest of us, it takes a longer time to get there. But Ruchi also said she doesn't have little kids in the house. And I think that that's helpful to those of us who do, and people who set half their table and the other half is for kids coloring. And the weeks that I'm able to type, this week I couldn't set the table, but my cooking is almost done. I'm never okay I'm never fully ready by Chatzos. That's never happened. But I also don't scream and yell and hate everybody before Shabbos, which is amazing growth for me. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. And this kind of loops it back to the CCI, the Chatzos Community Initiative. It just gives a chance for us to bring the men and children on board and show them that, here's what we're working on as women. Now let's give you a chance, so the men can just buy in a little bit with just supporting the women in their lives, doing this as a community. The children, part of CCI is there's little lanyards for kids that say, I'm a Shabbos helper. So when it's time for the kids to do their Shabbos jobs, they run to the coat hook and they put on their little I'm a Shabbos helper lanyard. For teenagers who beforehand their mom might have been super stressed out and saying, did you do your job? Did you do your job yet? At the beginning of the week, they sit down as a family and they look at that teen commitment sheet, and the teen says, I'm committing to doing X during the week, and I'm committing to doing X on Friday. Two different things. So in the Chatzos Community Initiative, there's resources for all ages, all types of households to get involved and be a part of this, as I said, as a community. Okay, Ruchi, do you want me to read it? It's important to recognize that some people are very naturally organized and others have a harder time, and that's okay. Yes, yes. And it's unbelievable that I've spoken to a lot of people recently who are incredibly organized. This is older women whose kids are already grown. When I've talked to them about the Chatzos Community Initiative, and two of them actually had tears in their eyes when they said, I wish I had this when my kids were little. Now, this is from organized people. Organized people had chaos on Erev Shabbos because the Yetzer Hara works so hard to create that chaos and to counter that beautiful, beautiful way that it could be. And when you get there, and when you're on your way also, because you start feeling it. Okay, I've blabbed enough. Anyone else? Last words. Thank you so much for joining. We're ending just on time, and I love that. I'm giving you 3 extra minutes to prepare for Shabbos or to just internalize some of what was said. Feel free to follow up with any questions or clarifications. Please check out giftofchatzos.org. You can also check out cci.giftofchatzos.org to learn about the Chatzos Community Initiative, start a conversation about bringing it to your community. And Yashar Koach to all of you. Hatzlacha. Thank you, Michelle Asa. Thank you, Bas Alterman, for running the show, and everyone for being here.
Thank you, Sarah Faygie.
You're welcome. Good night.